in the values that unite us with the countries that joined the European Union step by step. But the second power is the economic development. Whenever there was an enlargement, not only those countries who accessed the European Union had a huge boost in their economic development because they joined the single market, but also the European Union improved because the single market got bigger. And this is the principle now of the growth plan. We want to basically open in specific areas the doors of the single market, the European single market, to Western Balkan companies. And this we have to engineer now. We are opening it in areas like free movement of goods and services, road transport, energy, electricity, the EU's digital single market, and very important, making cashless payments easier with a single European payment area, just to name a few elements. But, of course, opening the door is not enough. The Western Balkan countries also need to complete their regional common market. And this means that it is a condition that the Western Balkan countries also give access to their neighbors, to their market. In other words, if I turn it around, if there are blockages, the only one you can block is yourself. The others will move on. And to move on, there is needed reforms, deep-rooted reforms, also to improve the business climate, to make the environment more attractive. These reforms will be accompanied by funding for investment from the European Union if they take place. So this growth plan is a very strong incentive. It's an incentive to open the doors economically, but also to ask for opening the borders between the Western Balkan countries and to do the necessary reforms. With that comes the funding for investment. Only by working together, we will bring the Western Balkans right where you belong, to the heart of the European Union. History indeed is on the move. My message is, this is a decisive moment now. Don't miss the opportunity, grab the opportunity, seize the moment, and we work with you together for that. Many thanks, Eddie.
Thank you. And before giving the floor to the President of the European Council, I just want to share with you a statistic that the President of the European Council is close to equal in number of visits in the region all his predecessors counted together. If EU would be NATO and he was Jens Stoltenberg with an extension of mandate of 1 year, he would overcome them. So please, Charles.
Thank you, dear Prime Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to join the French and to say thank you, Eddie, for your warm welcome, for your hospitality, and for this great video, which is showing very clearly the broad context of this meeting. It's a pleasure to be back in Tirana. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like also to thank you, Chancellor Scholz, dear Olaf, for Germany's leadership of this Berlin process and for your strong personal commitment to the region. Several weeks ago in Bled, I asked the question, is the EU only content to manage crisis, or do we want to lead and shape the future? And the last 18 months have provided a strong and clear answer. We want to lead and we want to shape the future. And enlargement is part of this answer, because enlargement is an investment in peace and prosperity, both for the EU and for our future member states. And this Berlin process plays an important role in boosting operational, effective cooperation between the Western Balkan partners and the EU, with EU integration as the guiding light. In the Western Balkans, your journey to the EU began more than 20 years ago. And yes, it has been a slow road, too slow, disappointing to you in the region and to us in the EU. But now we all feel, we all know it's time to keep our promise. We have already re-energized the process but we still have a lot to do to get ready on both sides. Our partners and friends in the region, you know that you must deliver on your commitments, starting with the necessary reforms, and in the EU, we need to prepare to welcome new members. I repeat again, I believe, we must be ready on both sides by 2030 to enlarge, and I know this deadline has been met with some skepticism in your region because you have been waiting for a long time. And dear Eddie, I know you have compared enlargement to a bride that never shows up to the wedding. I would like to tell you that the bride is now actively preparing the wedding. In the EU, I know not everyone is in favor of mentioning a date. Enlargement is and will always remain a merit-based process. And putting forward a date has got the ball rolling as an encouragement, a support to redouble our efforts for the Western Balkans to do the reforms that are urgent and needed, and for us on the EU side to launch this serious debate on the future of the EU. Just a few days ago in Grenada, together with President Sánchez, EU leaders held their first in-depth discussion on this topic, and we agree we must work hard to get ready for future enlargements. Ladies and gentlemen, Russia's war against Ukraine as we focus our attention on the geopolitics of enlargement and on the Western Balkans region. And now more than ever, we must stand together to defend the international law, always and everywhere, to build on what unites us and to support the people of Ukraine. I'm personally convinced that we will be stronger with you, the Western Balkans at our heart. We will be stronger to set global standards, to cooperate with our partners, to promote our values, and to defend our common interests. Ladies and gentlemen, you have made your goal of EU membership crystal clear many times, and we want you to succeed. We'll support you on your road to the EU. So how can we make it happen? First, through gradual integration into EU policies, so the benefits can be felt more quickly by your people, even during the accession process. And this integration could take place in different areas, especially the single market and the economic cooperation. We have ambitious frameworks in place that support the alignment with the EU Allí, and we should use these to phase in future member states. Second point, completing the common regional market would also bolster economic growth and trade in the Western Balkans. It would make it more attractive for investments. And I'm very pleased that a new agreement on the professional qualifications will be signed today. We are also hopeful that the 3 regional mobility agreements will be ratified by all countries soon, because it will benefit both the Western Balkans and the EU. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, we can't let bilateral conflicts hold us back. Resolving them could be more painful than reforms, but it must be done. Don't let the ghosts of the past steal your future. The recent tensions between Serbia and Kosovo have again brought this to the forefront. In fact, you are walking the same path as the founding members of our union. There is no cooperation without reconciliation. There is no stable future without reconciliation. And we all know reconciliation requires political courage and sincere focus on the future. Focus on the future, it will be the spirit for this EU Western Balkans Summit that will take place very soon in December in Brussels. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, friends, our people, especially our young people, they want a brighter, a more optimistic future, a future that's fair, prosperous, and full of opportunities. I'm certain we can make a difference. It's time to make it happen together for the good of our entire continent. You can count on our sincere cooperation and commitment. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles. And I should share with you that it is always a very special pleasure to welcome here in Albania the Prime Minister of Spain, namely Pedro. For two very special reasons. First, he was a bit younger, I must say, when he made knowledge of our region by looking from close the pains and the hardships of our past. And second, because until he came here, we never had a Spanish Prime Minister landing in Albania. And for us, Spain was just Real Madrid and Barcelona and nothing else than that. So, Pedro, thank you for coming again, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Prime Minister. Please let me start by, with my deepest gratitude to you as chair of the Berlin process for the invitation to attend as presidency of the Council of the European Union this meeting today. And I would also like to thank the previous speakers, Olaf, Ursula, Charles, for your interventions. The Berlin process is playing a key role in the path of the Western Balkans to join the European Union family, and this role is even more important now when the enlargement is a high priority of the European Union. Our meeting today takes place in a very crucial moment. First, because the challenges of our continent have pushed the enlargement to the European Union high on the agenda. The Russian invasion of Ukraine was a turning point, but it is not the only one. The COVID pandemic and also the digital transformation and the ecological transition that we all need to face have made it clear that we need to walk the path of the future together. This requires efforts from all. The meeting of the heads of the states and government of the European Union in the Spanish city of Granada, I believe, set the ground for the start of the discussion on how to adapt the European Union to be prepared for an enlarged union. We are committed, and we will work for a unified Europe that continues to be operational. The Berlin process is also an expression of commitment from the region. Regional cooperation is the best step towards progress, and I'm convinced that we can get a lot of traction from it. We will witness today a conversation that goes in different directions, as sectoral ministers also did before this summit. The region has to lead the process by delivering in various fronts, while people feel tangible results from it. We are in the best fora to do so. And second, we meet at a crucial moment for the international community. Once again, Europe is an example that dialogue works, that cooperation among neighbors work, that differences can be overcome, and that reconciliation is the only way forward. This is the essence of the Berlin process, and also of the European Union, and a timely reminder for us all, especially now when the Middle East, a region also very close to us, is on fire. Indeed, the language of violence and conflict is the opposite of what we defend. This is why I would like to reiterate our condemnation to Hamas attack on Israel. Israel has the legitimate right to defend itself within the respect of the international and humanitarian law. And at the same time, protection of civilians is essential, as well as the access of international aid for those in need, especially in the Gaza Strip. We must work now to avoid an escalation of violence in the region and reinvigorate all our efforts to achieve a peaceful resolution of the conflict between Israel and Palestine, bearing in mind that the only way to definitely resolve the conflict is the recognition of the two states so that they can coexist in peace and security. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pedro. With these remarks ends the public part of our session, and now it's time for my dear friends from the EU without you. So first and foremost,